I went off to college. I went to Columbia undergrad, and I was sure that I wanted to be a journalist. I had been the editor of the school paper when I was in high school, and I was sure I wanted to be a journalist. I was on the student paper at Columbia for all of 2 months, and I hated it. I just hated it. And a lot of the reason I hated it was because I was getting the stories that they gave to freshmen. And also at the same time, I got very involved in an independent student organization called Lights in Action that was independent, pluralist, students from all over the country who were doing leadership training for our peers. So I was 18 years old. I was flying to Houston or Iowa to do a leadership training session for my peers. I was doing a lot of learning. I was learning how to teach. I found out that I was good at it and I enjoyed it. And so I kept feeling like, I don't want to write this article for the school paper, and I want to be working on this Jewish learning and this Jewish teaching. And I remember specifically, I was supposed to write an article about a barber shop on 103rd Street, about an old barber shop, and I was just dragging it out, and I never got down there to actually interview the barber. And at a certain point, I just said, you know what? I'm not writing this article about the barber shop. I'm just not interested in it. And also, what was going on for me is that I was figuring out my own Judaism. I was away from home for the first time. I had come to Columbia because I wanted a Jewish community, and what I found was actually an Orthodox Jewish community. So I went looking for something separate from that. And I was also very close to JTS, just physically, even though I wasn't at the school. So I would come up for services sometimes, and I started to see the rabbinical students. And I found out that they weren't 45-year-old men with beards. That they were 23-year-olds, many of them, and many of them were women. And they looked like me, except a few years older, and suddenly it became something that I could do. And I realized that if I loved Jewish learning, if I loved teaching, if I wanted to make an impact in the world, I could actually be a rabbi.